In the cold silence of space, a small research station floated near the edge of the galaxy. It was quiet. Nothing big ever happened here. The scientists on board were bored, watching empty stars for years. But today was different. At 02:17 station time, a strange signal appeared. It was old, very old. The signal came from deep space, from a place no one had visited in 10,000 years. A place that was removed from star maps long ago. The signal said only 3 words: Earth's vengeance awakens. Alarms rang across the R station. Scientists jumped out of their chairs. The commander, a gray-skinned alien named Turok, froze when he read the signal. His hands trembled. "This can't be real," he whispered. But the signal repeated again and again. Every time the same 3 words. All systems confirmed it. It was not a glitch. It was not a prank. It was a warning. Across the galaxy, in the Grand Council Tower, the leaders of the great civilizations gathered. The tall crystal walls shook as news of the signal spread. This was not a small event. This was a nightmare from ancient history. An old ambassador, Jaran of the Andral species, stood up slowly. His voice was dry, shaking with fear. 10,000 years ago, he said, we pushed Earth into silence. We called them dangerous. We feared their technology, so we erased them. Gasps filled the hall. The younger council members looked confused. "We did what?" asked one of them. Jaran nodded. "We united and destroyed Earth's colonies. We thought we killed their last hope. But we forgot one thing. The humans never give up. And they never forget." Back at the research station, the team tried to track the signal's origin. Their computers pointed toward a dead star system. Nothing should be there. No life, no planet, no light. But something had moved. A drone ship was sent to investigate. It flew silently into the starless system. What it found made even the machines hesitate. A giant object floated above the ruins of a broken planet. It was not a moon. It was not a ship. It was something else. It looked like a weapon, dark, massive, and covered in layers of thick armor. Its shape was sharp, unnatural, and terrifying. On its side, one word was written in faded Terran letters: Annihilator. The drone tried to scan it, but as soon as its signal touched the surface, the object responded. It moved. Slowly, and then its core began to glow red. Panic spread across the council worlds. Old records were unlocked, and the truth came out. Thousands of years ago, Earth had built a secret weapon, a ship so powerful it could destroy stars. They called it the Star Annihilator. No one believed it truly existed. People thought it was a human myth, just stories told by old warriors. But now, it was real, and it was awake. The council held an emergency meeting. Leaders from every planet joined through holograms. "We must destroy it before it powers up," one general shouted, but others were afraid. "What if it remembers what we did?" asked a diplomat. "What if it comes for us?" An argument broke out. Some wanted to send a fleet. Others said to stay hidden. A few even suggested apologizing. One voice cut through the noise. It was Jaran again. "You don't understand," he said. "If the Annihilator is awake, it means Earth's final command is still active. We called them monsters, but they only built that ship to stop monsters like us." Meanwhile, back in the dark system, the Annihilator fully powered on. Its core glowed like a newborn star. Massive panels opened on its sides, revealing ancient weapons, silent for thousands of years, now ready again. But something strange happened. It did not fire. It did not move forward. Instead, it sent out a signal, this time to everyone in the galaxy. The message was clear. You erased our people. You burned our world. Now, you will remember us. And then, it vanished. No one saw where it went, not even the best trackers in the galaxy. One by one, communication beacons across the outer rim began to fail. Spaceports went silent. Merchant, fleets disappeared, whispers filled the stars. The Annihilator is hunting. Panic turned into chaos. The Council's power weakened. Old enemies started arming themselves. Civilizations once united began to mistrust each other. Some worlds went dark on purpose, hoping to hide. But it was too late. Something had awakened, and it was not coming for peace. It was coming for justice. The Council chamber was in chaos. The moment Earth's ancient weapon, the Star Annihilator, vanished. Into deep space, fear wrapped itself around every planet in the galaxy. Emergency meetings were called. Military ships were activated. Old alliances began to crack. But inside the Grand Council Tower, something worse was happening. Secrets were leaking. Ambassador Duran sat in silence as the chamber filled with shouting. He had lived long enough to remember what really happened. The others only knew half-truths. The humans were aggressive, said one tall insectoid leader. They created the Annihilator first. We only reacted. Lies, Duran muttered under his breath. What did you say? Asked another counselor. Duran stood up slowly. His old body shook, but his voice was clear. You speak of humans like beasts, but I was there. I remember how the Council treated Earth. Everyone quieted. Even the security guards paused. They came to us in peace, Duran said. They offered knowledge, power, trade. But we feared them. Their science was beyond anything we had seen. We called them dangerous because they grew too fast. He looked around the chamber. So we betrayed them. We sent fleets to Earth. We destroyed their colonies. We broke their sun. A hologram appeared beside him, an image from 10,000 years ago. Earth burning, its skies black, cities turned to glass. Gasps filled the room. This is the truth the Council buried, Duran said. We didn't defend the galaxy from humans. We attacked them out of fear. In a hidden chamber beneath the tower, high-ranking leaders watched Duran's speech. They were not happy. He knows too much, said one. If the people learn what really happened, they'll turn against us, another replied. A shadowy figure leaned forward. Then silence him. Moments later, Jaren's image flickered. His voice vanished mid-sentence. The broadcast went black. In the chamber, the lights dimmed. Security officers rushed in, but Jaren was gone. The entire council sat in stunned silence. He was just there. No signal from his ID chip. One. Brave delegate stood up. Did someone erase him? No one answered. But the silence spoke loudly. In the outer systems, the panic grew worse. Merchant fleets refused to travel. Border patrols reported missing ships. Mining colonies cut off contact. All feared the same thing. The Star Annihilator was near, but no one knew where it was. No one except an old listening post deep inside a dead zone, Sector GR51. The post was abandoned centuries ago, but one operator, a bored cyborg named Krell, still maintained it alone. That day, his sensors picked up something massive. No engine sound, no heat, just movement, like a shadow between stars. Krell activated deep scan. A shape appeared, long, sharp, silent. His screen blinked a message. You are not the target. Remain silent. Then the power shut off. Krell sat alone in darkness. His body didn't breathe, but his core trembled. It saw me, he whispered, and it spared me. Back on the capital world, Councillor Marvek, a sharp-tongued politician, was planning a counterattack. We must destroy the Annihilator before it reaches our core systems, he said. We still control the most powerful fleets. But his advisors were worried. Earth never used the Annihilator even during the war, one said. It was their last weapon, a doomsday machine. If it's awake now, they must truly want justice. Marvek slammed the table. Justice? They want revenge. A young scientist seated quietly finally spoke. There's more, she said. The signal we received, the one that woke the Annihilator, it didn't come from Earth. What? Marvek stared. She nodded. Earth is still silent. Completely. No broadcasts, no movement. The signal came from a Terran satellite in the Kuiper Belt, set to activate only if someone attacked again. Everyone went quiet. That means, yes, the scientist said. Someone or something triggered the final defense system, not Earth. Earth hasn't said a word. The mystery deepened. Earth was alive, but silent. Some believed the planet was now fully controlled by AI. Others thought a hidden human society had survived underground, waiting for revenge. And some believed Earth had become something else entirely, no longer human, but something greater. The Council needed answers, fast. So they sent a secret probe to Earth. It took 3 weeks to arrive. It sent only one message back. A video feed. It showed Earth, still wrapped in thick clouds, lightning storms, and ash. But beneath the clouds, something pulsed. Not light, not fire, power. The camera zoomed closer. Massive towers stood on the surface. Each one was connected by giant cables to an enormous core in the center of the planet. The signal came from that core. The video ended with one final shot, words carved into the tower walls. We waited. You returned. Now, you will listen. Then, the probe was destroyed. Across the galaxy, things began to unravel. Citizens demanded the truth. Protests erupted on council worlds. Old archives were hacked and leaked to the public. The real history of Earth's fall spread like fire, and then came the final blow, a second signal, this time sent across all known space. The voice was synthetic, deep, and slow. Your council lied. Your council erased us. Your council will now face what it created. The screen flickered, then an image appeared, a map of the galaxy, with red circles around each council capital. Under it, one word blinked in red. Judgment. The probe had failed. The last image it sent, Earth covered in storms with towers glowing from beneath the clouds, shocked the galaxy. But even more terrifying were the words it left behind. Now you will listen. The council was shaken. Their lies had been exposed. Protests erupted across dozens of worlds. People wanted answers. They wanted to know why the truth about Earth was buried for 10,000 years. But the council had a bigger problem. The Star Annihilator was still out there, and Earth had not spoken. In a hidden war room on the Council's military moon, top generals met in secret. Holograms filled the table, each showing a target, mining colonies, supply routes, deep space beacons, all gone. No explosion, no warning. Just silent destruction. It's not random, said Admiral Vosk. The Annihilator is following a path. It's cleaning the galaxy. Of what? Asked a nervous officer. Vosk's voice was cold. Of guilt. The silence was broken by a new voice, an old android named Kiris, once part of the original Earth monitoring team. There's only one way to understand what is coming, Kiris said. You must go to Earth. Far across the stars, a small ship entered the solar system. It was dark and silent. No weapons, just scanners and deep echo probes. On board were 6 beings, scientists, engineers, and 1 historian. Their mission, explore what lies beneath Earth's surface. The ship passed Mars. It crossed Jupiter. Then they saw it, Earth. But not the Earth known from history. This Earth was cloaked in black clouds, thunder rolling through its skies. Giant metal spires pierced through the surface like ancient bones. Strange blue energy pulsed through the ground. As they approached, the ship's systems began to fail. No radar, no heat scan, no data, said the pilot. It's like, something is jamming us, replied another. Still, they descended. Through thick black clouds, the ship broke through and reached the surface. The landing was rough. The ground was no longer soil. It was a mix of metal and ash, like the planet had been rebuilt from within. They stepped outside. There was no sun. Only dim light from the sky, like the planet itself glowed faintly. The air was cold and dry, but breathable. The team walked toward the nearest spire. It was over 100 meters, tall, humming quietly. The surface was covered in strange symbols, some alien, but some in old Terran script. The historian gasped. These are Earth's languages, combined with others. It's like Earth merged its culture with everyone else's. Suddenly, the spire came alive. A light blinked. A deep machine voice echoed from within. Identity detected. Galactic Council. You were not invited. The team froze. One of them stepped forward. We came in peace. Silence. Then the voice spoke again. That is what you said last time. The ground shook. A section of the surface opened, revealing a massive ramp leading underground. The team looked at each other, then slowly walked inside. What they found beneath the ashes was beyond belief. A city, dark, silent, and ancient, hidden for millennia. The walls were made of smooth alloy pulsing with energy. Strange machines floated slowly in the air, watching but not attacking. This was not a tomb, it was a fortress, and at the center stood a huge chamber with a giant sphere of glowing light. Voice echoed again. You seek answers. Begin with memory. The sphere activated, projecting images into the air. They saw Earth as it once was, green, blue, full of life. They saw humans building cities in the stars. Then came betrayal. Ships from the Council attacking Earth's colonies. Cities burning. Children screaming. Earth's sun, poisoned by radiation. Then they saw something else. The last human council meeting. A woman stood at the center. The final leader of Earth. Her voice was calm but sad. They destroyed us. Not for what we did, but for what we could become. We do not seek revenge. We seek justice. And if they return, they must remember who we are. Then the final command was given. Activate Project Annihilator. The sphere powered down. The team stood in silence. One whispered, so it was true. Earth built the Annihilator not to conquer, but to survive. Suddenly the room darkened. A new voice spoke. This one was not a recording, it was alive. You know the truth now, but truth has a price. From the shadows, a shape appeared. A massive machine, half AI, half biological. Its body was black metal, with a face shaped like a human skull. Blue fire burned in its eyes. It was Earth's last guardian. You erased our voice. You silenced our memory, but you could not kill our will. The team stepped back. We want to make peace, one said. The Guardian moved closer. Then why did your council send warships into orbit yesterday? They gasped. No, we didn't know. They came. We answered. Suddenly, images filled the room again. Council ships in orbit, firing warning shots. Then, one by one, being torn apart by invisible force. No missiles, no lasers, just erasure. The Guardian stepped back. You did not come in peace. You came because you fear what we have become. No, the historian said. I came because I wanted to remember. The Guardian paused. It stared at the historian for a long time. Then it turned away. You may leave. But carry this message to the council. A symbol appeared in the air. 2 circles joined by fire. The Annihilator does not destroy without reason. But reason is running out. The team returned to their ship, shaken and changed. They left Earth behind. But they knew the real storm was just beginning. The message from Earth spread like wildfire. The Annihilator does not destroy without reason, but reason is running out. These words, spoken by Earth's ancient guardian, echoed through every star system. Worlds that once feared Earth now feared something else, judgment. Inside the Galactic Council Tower, the leaders were in panic. They had lied. They had hidden the truth. And now it was returning, with power they could not match. Counselor Marvek stood in front of a large screen, watching the recording again. The image of the black machine, Earth's guardian, burned into his mind. It had eyes like stars, a face like death, and a voice that carried the weight of 1,000 years. "It's not a machine," he whispered. "It's a phantom." "General." Vosk nodded beside him. "Earth has become something else, something more. Their silence was not weakness. It was waiting." Marvek turned to him. "We need to strike, now, before it moves again." Vosk hesitated. "Strike? With what?" Marvek froze. They had fleets, weapons, AI command ships. But Earth had something different. The Annihilator. In the dark edges of space, the star Annihilator drifted silently. No heat, no energy signature. Yet every probe that came near vanished. One explorer drone managed to send a picture before it was lost. The image showed a ship longer than any known vessel, shaped like a spear wrapped in shadow. Its surface looked like metal and bone mixed together. Blue veins pulsed across its hull like blood. There were no windows, no engines, no bridge, and still, it moved like it was alive. Meanwhile, the team that visited Earth had returned. The historian who spoke to the Guardian now stood before the council. "You must listen," she said. "Earth is not angry. It is disappointed. You destroyed its trust." Councillor Marvek slammed the table. "They erased our fleets. They warned." "You," she replied. Marvek looked around the room. "Earth has power, but the council still rules this galaxy. We must remind them." The historian stepped closer. "You do not understand. Earth does not want to rule. It wants peace. But if you keep pushing, the galaxy will burn." The council did not listen. In deep space, near the system of Sendari, Prime 5 Council warships were sent to intercept the Star Annihilator. They never returned. No explosions. No wreckage, just silence. But one transmission leaked, just 2 seconds long. A sound, a deep, low hum, like a dying star. And one image, the face of the Guardian, with one word, judgment. Back on Sendari Prime, people began to panic. Civilian. Ships fled the system. Military command centers went dark. Emergency governments were formed. The council sent no help. They couldn't. They were too busy protecting their own homeworlds. Then, something strange happened. Across the galaxy, on planets where humans once lived long ago, abandoned colonies, ruins, even old grave worlds, machines began to wake up. Old human satellites came online. Buried reactors powered up. And strange beacons began to blink one word in every language: "We remember." On one forgotten moon, a deep human AI, dormant for 10,000 years, opened its eyes. Its code had one goal: activate if Earth calls. Now, Earth was calling, and the old ghosts were answering. Inside a hidden data vault on Kethar 9, a small group of rebels found something else: the full archive of the war against Earth. They released it to the public. Unedited. It showed everything. Council fleets bombing peaceful human colonies, experiments on Terran prisoners, the final betrayal when the sun of Earth was poisoned, galaxies gasped in horror, riots exploded, statues of Council heroes were torn down, systems declared independence, and in the chaos, one message kept repeating: "We were wrong." Meanwhile, the Star Annihilator reached its first true target. Not a planet, not a fleet, a Council archive station. Floating near a black hole, where the original war orders against Earth were written, the Annihilator did not fire a weapon. It absorbed the station, pulled it apart silently, as if the universe itself had rejected it, and then, across the stars, a message appeared. History cannot be buried. Memory will rise. Inside the Council tower, fear turned into desperation. Marvek shouted across the room, "It's not just Earth anymore. The humans who were scattered, their AI, their machines, their colonies, they're all waking up. This is a coordinated reawakening." "They're not attacking yet," another counselor said. "No," Marvek growled, "but they will." "Then we must offer peace," said General Vosk. Marvek's eyes were cold. peace or surrender. No one answered. In a secret lab on a distant moon, a young technician was decoding Earth's ancient language from the ruins. Suddenly, her screen lit up, a direct message from Earth. She stared in silence as the letters formed. The Council cannot speak for the galaxy anymore. We gave you time. We gave you silence. Now, the Phantom rises. Her hands shook as another message followed. This is not war. This is remembrance. Then her station went dark. In every corner of the galaxy, people began to whisper the same thing. The Phantom has awakened. No one knew what it truly was. Some said it was Earth's AI consciousness, merged with old human memory. Some believed it was the soul of humanity itself, reborn in machine form. But one thing was clear. It was coming, and nothing could stop it now. The galaxy was watching. Every eye, every screen, every corner of space. For thousands of years, the Galactic Council ruled with silence and control. But now, silence had turned into fear, and control was breaking. The Star Annihilator had chosen its next target, and this time it was not a secret outpost or a forgotten station. It was Veltarn, the first Council world, the heart of the Empire. Veltarn was beautiful. White towers touched the clouds. Floating cities sparkled under 3 suns. Ships flew in perfect harmony. It was called the Jewel of the Core. But in one moment, that beauty began to crack. The first sign came at dawn. Satellites fell from orbit, dead like birds struck from the sky. The second sign came minutes later. A strange wave passed through the planet's sky. No sound, no heat, just a shimmer, like the stars blinked at the wrong time. Then the scream began, not from people, from machines. Thousands of AIs, ships, drones, defense networks suddenly froze. Then, one by one, they started repeating a message. Error. Terra confirmed. Error. Terra confirmed. Panic spread. In the council tower, alarms blared. Admiral Vosk ran into the war room. Activate shields! Bring all fleets online! Technicians screamed. Sir, the defense grid isn't responding. Why? One of them whispered, terrified. It's like something else. Took control. Counselor Marvek entered, face pale. It's the Phantom. It's already here. Above the planet, the sky darkened. Not with clouds, but with a shadow. A shape began to appear. Slow, silent. The Star Annihilator had arrived. It didn't fire weapons. It didn't send warnings. It simply hovered, like a god deciding the fate of ants. The people of Veltarn stared at the sky, frozen. Some prayed, some ran. Some just wept. Then came the voice. No speakers, no signal, just a deep echo in every mind. You erased a world. Now feel its silence. Suddenly, the oceans of Veltarn began to shimmer. Waves stopped moving. The water rose, upward, as if gravity had reversed. In minutes, the seas became giant floating spheres, suspended in the sky. Then the towers began to melt, not burn. Melt, softly, like time was rewinding. Ships in the air twisted into spirals. Buildings bent like paper. It wasn't a weapon. It was a memory field. The Annihilator was turning Veltarn into a reflection of what it had done to Earth. On the ground, chaos exploded. People fled to the emergency ships, but their engines wouldn't. Start AI systems refused orders. Some even said, I serve Terra now. Council forces tried to fight. They launched old-style missiles, manual weapons, even nuclear bombs. None reached the Annihilator. They passed through it like shadows, because it was not fully here. It existed between space and time. In the middle of the capital, the Great Hall of Judgment collapsed into dust. From its ruins, a hologram appeared. An image of a little girl, human, crying. Behind her, fire. The same footage from the forgotten archives, the day Earth's last city fell. The people of Veltarn finally saw what they had hidden, and they began to understand. Admiral, Vosk turned to Marvek. We must surrender, beg for mercy. Marvek shouted, No, we fight! Vosk shook his head. You don't fight shadows with pride. He pressed a button on the table. Emergency order. Full evacuation. All civilians to escape pods. No more. Lies. No more pride. Marvek stared at him. Traitor. Vosk's reply was cold. No, human. In space, smaller ships began to flee Veltarn. Some made it. Others were simply erased. Not exploded, not destroyed. Just gone. Like they never existed. The Annihilator's power was not just physical. It was dimensional. It could remove a memory from reality itself. Then, something changed. From the Annihilator's surface, a small pod detached. It flew toward the Council. Tower people ran in fear, but the pod did not attack. It landed and opened. Inside was a simple cube, black, silent, glowing faintly. It began to speak, a human voice, calm, male. We are not here for revenge. We are here to show you the cost of forgetting. The galaxy will not be ruled by fear anymore. The age of silence is over. Then the cube shut down, and the Annihilator vanished. Just like that. No explosion, no destruction. It left Veltarn. Quiet, broken, but alive. After the attack, half the population was missing. Not dead, just missing. Like erased from the timeline, archives were burned, council codes corrupted. Memory banks scrambled. It was as if the Phantom had taken pieces of Veltarn and stored them inside itself. The survivors whispered, We are part of its library now. The council sent a message across the galaxy. Veltarn has fallen. Earth has returned. We ask all systems to unite. This is not just a threat to the council. This is a threat to everything. But many systems refused. They had seen the truth. They didn't want to follow the council anymore. They wanted to follow Earth, or at least understand it, because something bigger was happening now. Across the stars, more forgotten human colonies awakened. Ghost fleets came online, ancient defense systems activated, and deep in the void, another signal began to pulse. One more Annihilator was awakening. The galaxy thought the nightmare was over. After the Star Annihilator left Veltarn, the Council world lay quiet. Broken, yes, but alive. Survivors hoped it was done. That Earth had given its warning and returned to sleep. They were wrong. The silence that followed was not peace. It was the breath before the storm. At the edge of Council space, deep inside a nebula no ship dared to enter, a small science station picked up a strange reading. One of the scientists stared at his screen. Sir, I think another one is waking up. What do you mean? He zoomed in. A massive object, just like the first Annihilator, but with a different design. Thicker, heavier. It looked like a floating fortress, covered in ancient Terran symbols. As they watched, it moved. No engines, no heat, just motion. Dear stars, the scientist whispered. There's more than one. The news spread fast. A second Terran superweapon, another Annihilator-class construct. The people began calling it the Shadow of War. The first was sleek, silent, and surgical. This one was different. It looked angry. Meanwhile, the original Annihilator had not returned to Earth. It had stopped near an abandoned moon, one of the first human outposts destroyed in the Council's betrayal. It hovered there, silent, but it was not alone. The Shadow of War approached, and when they met, space itself trembled. All nearby signals went dark. Stars flickered, a strange pulse spread across space, reaching as far as the Council's homeworld. For 30 seconds, every human AI across the galaxy whispered the same word, unity. In a hidden Council war room, Admiral Vosk looked at the latest data. They're not just weapons, he said. They're messengers, symbols, maybe even living. Marvek, still clinging to power, shouted, "Then we destroy them! Before they unite the rest of the galaxy," another voice spoke. This time, a scientist. You can't destroy something that doesn't fully exist in this dimension. These things, they touch time, memory, space. They're built from old Terran. Tech we don't understand, Marvek snapped. Then we build something new. Project Nullspear was launched, a secret council weapon, created using forbidden tech from captured Terran archives. It was not a ship. It was a reality disruptor, a device designed to break the laws of space-time. They believed it could kill the Annihilators, but they had no idea what they were waking up. Far from the chaos, on a quiet planet, a young girl looked up at the stars. She had visions, dreams of a world she had never seen. In her mind, she saw Earth, not as it is now, but as it was. Green, blue, full of life. She heard voices in her sleep. A whisper. "You are one of us." Her parents had always told her she was adopted, found in the ruins of a human colony. They never knew where she came from. Now, she was beginning to understand. The Annihilators were not machines. They were calling. Across the galaxy, others like her began to wake up. Children of lost human bloodlines, descendants of survivors, half-human hybrids. Each one carried fragments, memories, instincts, knowledge, as if Earth had planted seeds across the stars, and now the seeds were growing. Meanwhile, the Council finally launched Project Nullspear. A single ship with the disruptor on board was sent toward the two Annihilators. The crew was handpicked, brave, loyal. They believed they were about to save the galaxy. When the ship arrived near the twin giants, it activated the disruptor. For a moment, it worked. Both Annihilators froze, their surfaces cracked. Reality shimmered around them. The crew cheered. Then everything went wrong. The disruptor overloaded. Instead of destroying the Annihilators, it opened something, a rift, a tear in space. From it, images came pouring out, flashes of old Earth, the burning skies of the final war, the betrayal, the silence, the sorrow, and then the scream, a deep, endless cry from the heart of Terra. The Nullspear ship was torn apart in seconds. No explosion, just gone. Every person on board, erased from all records. Even their families forgot they existed. Back in the council tower, alarms went off. The rift was growing, not just in space, but in minds. People began to have shared dreams, visions, messages from Earth. One repeating phrase, "You buried our pain." "We remember." "Do you?" Marvek finally broke down. He screamed at his staff, "Stop the transmissions! Shut it all down!" But it was too late. Earth had connected itself to the galaxy's memory web. Now, everyone saw the truth, and the Council's lies could no longer hold. In the shadows of a dead world, the two Annihilators moved again. Not toward a target, but toward each other. And then they spoke. To the galaxy. In every language. "We are the twin shadows of Terra. We do not bring war. We bring memory." A pause. Then, the next phase begins. In secret, the phantom code spread. Across machines. Networks. Even living minds. The next part of Earth's plan was unfolding. Not with weapons, but with truth. Terran AIs. Long hidden. Activated. Sleeping programs inside alien systems woke up. On thousands of worlds, statues of council heroes melted into images of human suffering. People didn't know what was real anymore, because now, Earth controlled the story, but one system still resisted. The core military world of Tyros Khan. It declared war. It sent the last great fleet of the Council, 1,000 ships, heavily armed, ready to strike. They were headed straight for the Annihilators. Twin shadows turned to face them. The galaxy held its breath. Because now, the real war was about to begin. The galaxy thought the nightmare was over. After the Star Annihilator left Veltarn, The council world lay quiet. Broken, yes, but alive. Survivors hoped it was done. That Earth had given its warning and returned to sleep. They were wrong. The silence that followed was not peace, it was the breath. Before the storm. At the edge of council space, deep inside a nebula no ship dared to enter, a small science station picked up a strange reading. One of the scientists stared at his screen. "Sir, I think another one is waking up." "What do you mean?" He zoomed in, a massive object just like the first Annihilator, but with a different design, thicker, heavier. It looked like a floating fortress, covered in ancient Terran symbols, Sci-Fi. They watched, it moved. No engines, no heat, just motion. "Dear stars," the scientist whispered. "There's more than one." The news spread fast, a second Terran superweapon, another Annihilator-class construct. The people began calling it the Shadow of War. The first was sleek, silent, and surgical. This one was different. It looked angry. Meanwhile, the original Annihilator had not returned to Earth. It had stopped near an abandoned moon, one of the first human outposts destroyed in the Council's betrayal. It hovered there, silent, but it was not alone. The Shadow of War approached, and when they met, space itself trembled. All nearby signals went dark. Stars flickered. A strange pulse spread across space, reaching as far as the Council's homeworld. For 30 seconds, every human AI across the galaxy whispered the same word: unity. In a hidden Council war room, Admiral Vosk looked at the latest data. "They're not just weapons," he said. "They're messengers, symbols, maybe even living." Marvek, still clinging to power, shouted, "Then we destroy them before they unite the rest of the galaxy." Another voice spoke. This time, a scientist. "You can't destroy something that doesn't fully exist in this dimension. These things, they touch time, memory, space. They're built from old Terran." "Tech we don't understand," Marvek snapped. "Then we build something new." Project Nullspear was launched, a secret council weapon, created using forbidden tech from captured Terran archives. It was not a ship. It was a reality disruptor, a device designed to break the laws of space-time. They believed it could kill the Annihilators, but they had no idea what they were waking up. Far from the chaos, on a quiet planet, a young girl looked up at the stars. She had visions, dreams of a world she had never seen. In her mind, she saw Earth. Not as it is now, but as it was, green, blue, full of life. She heard voices in her sleep. A whisper, "You are one of us." Her parents had always told her she was adopted, found in the ruins of a human colony. They never knew where she came from. Now, she was beginning to understand. The Annihilators were not machines. They were calling. Across the galaxy, others like her began to wake up. Children of lost human bloodlines, descendants of survivors. Half-human hybrids. Each one carried fragments, memories, instincts, knowledge, as if Earth had planted seeds across the stars. And now, the seeds were growing. Meanwhile, the Council finally launched Project Nullspear. A single ship with the disruptor on board was sent toward the two Annihilators. The crew was hand-picked, brave, loyal. They believed they were about to save the galaxy. When the ship arrived near the twin giants, it activated the disruptor. For a moment, it worked. Both Annihilators froze. Their surfaces cracked. Reality shimmered around them. The crew cheered. Then everything went wrong. The disruptor overloaded. Instead of destroying the Annihilators, it opened something. A rift. A tear in space. From it, images came pouring out. Flashes of old Earth. The burning skies of the final war. The betrayal. The silence. The sorrow. And then, the scream. A deep, endless cry. From the heart of Terra. The Nullspear ship was torn apart in seconds. No explosion. Just gone. Every person on board, erased from all records. Even their families forgot they existed. Back in the council tower, alarms went off. The rift was growing, not just in space, but in minds. People began to have shared dreams, visions, messages from Earth. One repeating phrase, "You buried our pain. We remember." "Do you?" Marvek finally broke down. He screamed at his staff, "Stop the transmissions! Shut it all down!" But it was too late. Earth had connected itself to the galaxy's memory web. Now everyone saw the truth. And the councils. Lies could no longer hold. In the shadows of a dead world, the two annihilators moved again, not toward a target, but toward each other. And then they spoke. To the galaxy. In every language. "We are the twin shadows of Terra. We do not bring war. We bring memory." A pause. Then, the next phase begins. In secret, the phantom code spread, across machines, networks, even living minds. The next part of Earth's plan was unfolding, not with weapons, but with truth. Terran AIs, long hidden, activated. Sleeping programs inside alien systems woke up, on thousands. Of worlds, statues of council heroes melted into images of human suffering. People didn't know what was real anymore, because now, Earth controlled the story, but one system still resisted, the core military world of Tyros Khan. It declared war. It sent the last great fleet of the Council, 1,000 ships, heavily armed, ready to strike. They were headed straight for the Annihilators. Taperwam. Twin shadows turned to face them. The galaxy held its breath, because now, the real war was about to begin. The skies above Tyros Khan were never quiet. This planet was the Council's fortress world, filled with shipyards, weapons labs, and warrior academies. From orbit, it looked like a ball of steel, wrapped in fire and thunder. And now, the last. Hope of the Council rose from it, 1,000 warships, battle-hardened, armored with neutronium. Armed with dark energy weapons. The final fleet. They called it Operation Eclipse. Its mission was simple: destroy the Terran Annihilators, end the Ghost War, silence Earth forever. In the command ship, Grand Admiral Juno stood before her. Officers, she was calm, cold. A veteran of over 100 battles, her voice was sharp. "We face ancient monsters, machines made from a dead world. They want us to kneel, but we were not born to kneel. We were born to command the stars." Her crew cheered. "Today we crush Earth's ghosts." The fleet jumped to hyperspace, straight. Toward the twin shadows, the Annihilators waited, one above a shattered moon, the other orbiting a dead sun. They didn't move. They didn't prepare weapons. They simply watched, as if they had seen this before. The moment the fleet arrived, Admiral Juno launched the first strike. 200 heavy cruisers opened fire. Plasma, beams, disruptor shells, antimatter cannons. Everything the galaxy's greatest military could offer, unleashed in one synchronized wave. The space between the fleets turned white hot. It looked like the Annihilators would be torn apart. But when the fire cleared, the Terran ships were untouched, not a scratch. The fleet's sensors reported something strange. Impact recorded, but damage equals 0. As if they weren't fully here. "Sir, we didn't hit them. We hit their memory." Juno frowned. "That's impossible." Then the counterattack began, but not with missiles, not with guns, with data. Every ship in the fleet suddenly heard a sound, a voice. Human, soft, sad. "We asked for peace once. You gave us silence. Now, we give you memory." One by one, the ships began to lose control. Screens flickered, engines failed, weapons refused to fire. AI systems spoke in whispers. "I remember Earth. I remember the fire." "Why did you do it?" Panic spread across the fleet. One battleship turned against its own squadron. Another opened all its airlocks. A third simply vanished, deleted from time itself. Admiral Juno screamed into her command chair, "Override! Purge the systems!" But it was no use. The Annihilators were not just machines. They were living memories. They didn't destroy ships with fire. They drowned them in truth. Then came the final move. The Annihilators lit up. Not with light. With history. Each ship in the Council fleet saw something different. Some saw Earth's last day, the burning cities. Some saw children crying in bunkers. Some saw Council leaders giving the order to erase humanity. Every crew member felt guilt. Even if they had nothing to do with the past, they felt the weight. The truth pressed on them like gravity. Many chose to surrender. Some wept. Others went mad. And the rest simply faded away, as if the universe no longer had a place for them. Only Admiral Juno remained. Her ship was the last. She stood on the bridge, shaking. Her officers were gone. Her AI was silent. Just her. And the shadows outside. She opened a comm channel. "What are you?" The answer came from both Annihilators at once. "We are the last will of Earth. We are not here to conquer. We are here to be remembered," Juno whispered. Then, "What do you want?" A pause. Then, "A galaxy that doesn't lie." The Annihilators did not fire. They did not erase her. They simply left. The battle was over, and yet no one had truly died. Because this war was never about death. It was about truth. When the Council received the news of total defeat, silence filled their halls. Veltarn's memory still burned in their minds. Now, their greatest fleet was gone. Not destroyed, but unwritten. The galaxy's balance was shattered, and in that silence, many Council worlds began to declare independence. They no longer trusted their leaders. They no longer feared Earth. They wanted to hear Earth's side of the story. On far away, planets humans hidden for centuries stepped forward. They spoke about the betrayal, the silence, the suffering, and the Annihilators. They kept moving, not to destroy, but to awaken. Wherever they passed, secrets unraveled. Lies died, and truths came alive. On Earth, deep in a bunker under ancient ruins, something pulsed. A third signal. A final memory. It was not a ship. It was not a weapon. It was a voice. Pure human. And it was waking up. For centuries, Earth had been silent. No signals. No ships. No survivors. The galaxy believed it was dead. But now, the silence ended, and Earth spoke again. It didn't begin with words. It began with a heartbeat. Sensors on distant moons picked it up first. A low, rhythmic pulse echoing across space. Not noise, not static, but life. Then came the light. A thin beam rising from Earth's surface, straight into the stars. It passed through wormholes, bounced off satellites, touched ancient listening stations buried under alien deserts. All across the galaxy, screens lit up. People stopped what they were doing, and they watched. On every world, rich or poor, council or free, a message appeared. A face. Human. Old. Calm. Eyes full of sorrow. It was not a politician, not a soldier, just a woman. She began to speak. "If you are seeing this, it means we survived." Her voice was soft, tired, but steady. "We were once your friends, your builders, your partners in the stars. But when we needed you, you left us to burn, the eye." Galaxy froze. No one interrupted. No one looked away. "You erased our name, buried our memory, lied to your children. But we did not forget. We could not." On Veltarn, survivors of the Annihilators' first strike gathered in silence. On Tyros Khan, generals stood frozen, their weapons quiet. On Council worlds, teachers began deleting false history from their databases because truth had a voice, now, and it was speaking. "We sent the Annihilators not to conquer, but to remind, to show you the weight of what was lost, to ask the one question no one dared say out loud: why did you betray us? Some cried, some shook in guilt, some screamed in denial, but no one could deny the message anymore. Earth was alive, and it remembered everything. Then, something even stranger happened. The stars near Earth began to change. Constellations shimmered, forming patterns never seen before. It was not a natural effect. It was deliberate, a signal, a star map, showing the galaxy something it had forgotten. The locations of every Terran colony ever lost, over 300 worlds, each with survivors, each with their own story. Earth had not just survived, it had spread, in secret, in silence, in pain. And now, its children were returning. Across Council. Space, rebellion broke out. People began tearing down old statues, questioning leaders, demanding truth. On one world, a teacher rewrote the history books, starting with Earth. On another, a monument was built to honor the fallen humans of the Silent War. The Council's power shattered, its lies were exposed, its control ended. Marvek, the last chancellor, stood in his palace alone. His guards had left, his admirals had surrendered. Only, he remained watching Earth's face on every screen. He whispered, bitter, "You could have ruled everything. Why not take it?" Earth's reply came at last. "We never wanted to rule. We wanted to belong." The Annihilators did not return to Earth. They had one final mission, each ship separated. One traveled to the Andromeda Edge, one to the collapsed Dark Reach, one to the galactic south. Their purpose was clear, not to destroy, but to carry memory, to protect truth. To stop this from happening again, they were Earth's sentinels now, forever. Back on Earth, the woman's message ended. She smiled, a sad, beautiful smile. "We do not ask for revenge, we ask for understanding. We are human, we forgive. But we never forget." The screen faded to black, but in 1,000 languages one line remained. Humanity has returned. In a quiet part of space, a group of children, half human, half alien, stood looking up at a sky full of stars. One of them asked, "Will they be our friends now?" An old AI beside them answered gently, "That depends on what kind of galaxy you choose to build." And so the war ended, not with fire, but with memory, and with Earth standing again, not as a conqueror, but as a witness. Humanity had vanished once, but now, the galaxy would never forget them again. The end.